Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Bharat Ahuja and you are on David Tech. In this video, we are going to talk about the DJI Osmo 5, which is the DJI OM 5 gimbal, and we are going to compare it with the Zhiyun Crane M2 gimbal. Now you would be wondering, why am I not using the latest Zhiyun Smooth 5 or the Zhiyun Crane M3 to compare with the DJI OM 5, which is the latest version of gimbal from DJI for the phones. So I'm going to come to that in a minute, but let's start comparing both of these gimbals. So talking about the gimbals, let's start with the unboxing part of these gimbals. So first, the DJI OM 5. When you open the DJI OM 5, it comes in this kind of a box. In box you get an attachment for a smaller sized phone, and then it has a phone clamp, which you can see it has a magnetic attachment here, and it also comes with a tripod and a USB-C cable for charging through a USB-C port, and it comes with a carry case of the same color. This gimbal comes in two colors, which is white and grey. I have the grey one, and this cost around $159 when we speak, and compared to DJI, the Zhiyun Crane M2 is currently selling for $169, which is $10 costlier than this gimbal. And when we unbox this gimbal, this comes in this kind of box, soft box. It doesn't have a carry bag for it, but it also has a USB-C cable, a small tripod like DJI, and then it has a loop to hold, and it also has a phone clamp which can connect to the gimbal here. And if you pay $10 more, you get this extension pole which can be extended to this length. If you don't want it, you can just pack it back, and it goes this short. So that was the unboxing of DJI Osmo versus the unboxing of Zhiyun Crane M2. Now talking about the features and functions, let's start with the similarity between these two. The first similarity between these two is the number of buttons. Both of these gimbals have similar buttons. They both have an on-off, a mode, a record, a joystick. Both of them charge through a USB-C port, a toggle button, and zoom. Both these gimbals can have a phone connected to them to record a video. Both of these gimbals have their own app. The Zhiyun Crane has a ZY app and the DJI has its own app. Both of them can be controlled from the app. Both these gimbals have an iPhone and an Android app. They both work with most of the phones. We are going to come to the specifics of the phone and why I don't like DJI over the Zhiyun. So that was the comparison and similarity between these two gimbals. Now let's talk about the differences on these two gimbals. One is the price. The DJI OM 5 currently sells for $159, while the Zhiyun Crane M2 is selling for $169 as we speak. And for $10 extra, you get this extension pole. Now why you don't need a separate extension pole for DJI OM 5 is because it has a built-in extension which can extend. So you just pull it up, and there you go, you have the working extension pole. So you don't need the separate extension pole for DJI OM 5. Now talking about further differences, the DJI OM 5 can work only with the phone. However, the Zhiyun Crane M2 can work with your smartphone, your GoPros, though the GoPro 10 has Hyper Smooth 4.0, so it doesn't need a gimbal, but it does work. It works with your cameras like my Sony ZV-E10, that's where I'm recording right now. That works pretty good with the Zhiyun Crane M2, but cannot work with my DJI OM 5. If I have any small point and shoot camera, even that will work with this, but there's no attachment on my DJI OM 5 to use. So this is a multi-purpose gimbal over that gimbal which is only for phones, similar to that Zhiyun Smooth 5. The next difference is with the usage. Now on Zhiyun Crane M2, I have all the 6 modes on the button click. However, in DJI OM 5, only 2 modes are there on the button click, and rest of the modes are in the app. You have to go to the app, find the mode and choose it. With Zhiyun Crane M2 and with the new Zhiyun Smooth 5, you get the POV and Vortex mode. where you can have the phone or the camera working here. In case of Crane M2, you can use a camera also in POV and vortex mode. However, with DJI OM5, you cannot have either of those modes. Now, something good about DJI OM5. The setup of DJI OM5 is very easy. All you do is just clamp the phone in this magnetic clamp and attach it to the magnet, and you are good to go. You can use it directly. However, with Zhiyun Crane M5, it's a big pain to adjust and balance your devices because you have to toggle from camera to the phone or something else. So every device needs its own balancing, and the balancing is painful because it has three-way balancing, so you have to be very accurate. So that is a time-consuming process. But again, if you are going on a pro level, I would say this is much better because this gimbal has a payload of less than 300 grams. However, this gimbal has around 720 grams of capacity. So when you're comparing the payload capacity, this is like almost the double capacity when it comes to the payload. So you cannot use iPhone Pro Max like the one I have, the 13 Pro Max. This one, I cannot use this phone with this gimbal because the capacity of this gimbal is almost like 230 grams or something around that, and this phone itself is 240 grams. So it does work in a straight motion, but when I try to use it a lot or make it a little more actionable or fast, the gimbal motor starts vibrating and I can feel that no, it doesn't have that capacity to work with heavy phones. So if you are using iPhone 13 mini or an iPhone 13 Pro or even the iPhone 13, it may work, but if you are using a Pro Max like me or some Samsung Galaxy Ultra, this gimbal is not a good choice. Now coming to the next features of this gimbal, this gimbal has a good feature where you can toggle from vertical mode to horizontal mode on a double click. However, with Zhiyun Crane M2, if you want to go to a vertical mode, you need a separate plate to be installed. And even on the Zhiyun Smooth 5, you have to manually twist the main component there to make it record vertical videos. But here in Zhiyun Crane M2, you need a separate plate, which is currently selling for $40. So vertical videos, yeah, something to think about. But with the DJI OM5, it's very easy. Just double click and the phone toggles from horizontal to a vertical. In fact, when you start the gimbal by default starts in a vertical mode. So you can record your Instagram, your TikTok and your shorts directly from this gimbal without having to worry about the settings or the modes or anything. Just start the gimbal, it would start on the face focus, vertical mode, and everything is preset for you. So for people who do not want to take effort in adjusting the gimbal, this probably might be a good choice for you. Now talking about the same feature on the Zhiyun Crane M2, you can toggle from back facing to front facing by double clicking the toggle button. So the camera, the gimbal itself will rotate at 180 degrees. So you can continue using a back camera for your selfie mode, and the gimbal will do the rest. Now with the same with DJI OM5, you can click and choose the front camera, but the gimbal will not rotate at 180 degrees. That's something to note. However, with Zhiyun Crane M2, the gimbal will rotate 180 degrees, but it will not toggle from your back camera to front camera. So that is something to note. So you can do recording, you can do a continuous recording with your Zhiyun Crane M2 toggling from your back camera to front camera. However, with DJI OM5, I don't think that is quite possible where you continue recording and from your back camera you toggle to the front camera. I don't know if the app does it, but by default that's not possible where your gimbal will rotate 180 degrees in middle of the video. So that is one good feature I have on Crane M2, which is not there on DJI OM5. The next feature that I mentioned was the Vortex and the POV mode that I have on the Zhiyun Crane M2, and even the new Smooth 5 from Zhiyun has that feature. However, on DJI OM5 I don't have that Vortex mode, so that rotating video what you see something cannot be done with this gimbal if you are looking for those advanced level of recordings and shootings. One extra feature that Zhiyun Crane M2 has, which DJI OM Mobile 5 does not have, is the 1.4mm jack. So here you can connect an extra microphone over here just like this, and you can do advanced level of recording while the gimbal balances your device like your phone or a camera. And you can have this microphone connected, and this microphone will not add any weight on the gimbal or the device. However, it would still have the microphone connected. So this is one great feature this gimbal has over the DJI OM 5. And talking about the extension pole, as you can see, this gimbal has an extension pole, but if you're putting the gimbal on the extension pole, you cannot control the Zhiyun Crane M2 after connecting the extension pole. So it means your phone will have your gimbal extended at a distance, so you won't be able to reach the controls or the buttons when you're holding the gimbal. But in an autofocus mode, that would still work. However, with the DJI OM 5, you can have the whole extension pole extended and still use all the features with your hand while your phone or your device is away from your reach. So that's one good feature in DJI over Zhiyun. Next good feature with the DJI OM 5 is the portability. If you want to carry this gimbal in your bag, all you have to do is just fold it and put it in your bag, and this would fold just like that, and you can put it in your bag. And with Crane M2, if you do that fold, you will probably have to remove all the fittings, and you'll have to remove the adjustments and then readjust it wherever you're taking it. Though you can do some part of it, but I'll show those details later. So portability wise, DJI OM 5 is light in weight, easy to carry, and faster to set up, easier to set up, and very easy to use. But if you're having a heavy phone, a bigger phone, a camera, or if you want to do advanced level of recording, probably you might want to think again before buying the DJI OM 5. Now, one interesting thing that I found on the DJI OM 5 is when I was recording the videos, it was directly saving the recordings on my phone, on my iPhone. However, when I use the Zhiyun Crane M2 app or the ZV app to record my videos, the videos would first get recorded in the app, and then from there I would copy them to my phone, and then I have to manually delete them from the app so that I don't have two copies and both of them are not blocking my 100 GB each. So that was a little bit of pain for me while recording the videos. So time for a conclusion. If you are having a smaller phone and not a big phone like me, iPhone 13 Pro Max or a Samsung S21 Ultra or some big phone, then probably you can use DJI OM 5, and only if you are looking for limited functionality where you don't really care about having a POV mode, a Go mode, a Vortex mode, action mode, and fast recording. You don't need all of that. You don't need to use your gimbal with any other devices like your cameras or your action cameras or anything. Then probably DJI OM 5 probably is a good choice. But if you want to go on an advanced mode, I would rather recommend using a Zhiyun Crane M2. Even the Zhiyun Smooth 5 is also having a limited functionality where it works only with the phone and not with any camera. And the Zhiyun Crane M3 that I was referring is currently selling for $369, so which is almost the double price of what this gimbal is selling for. So even with this Zhiyun Crane M2, you can use any phone. It has the same payload capacity, which is 720 grams, as the new Zhiyun Crane M3. Both the gimbals have the same payload capacity. Yes, the Smooth 5 and the Zhiyun Crane M3 have those extra LED sockets where you can plug those small tiny lights and connect them, but that probably isn't something for me to get attracted and upgrade my gimbal to those. So that is something you can get with those new gimbal versions of Zhiyun. They also have this new OLED displays and better screens to interact. I don't have that smart screen, but works pretty good for me. And comparing my Zhiyun Crane M2 to my DJI OM5, I can use my phone, my GoPro, my point and shoot, anything on this gimbal without any problem. It has a payload capacity of 720 grams or 1.5 pounds, which is a pretty good weight capacity, and I don't have to worry about the vibrations or anything when I'm adding extra lenses to my phone when I'm recording on the phone with some extra lenses, or I'm using my ZV-10 camera or something else. Zhiyun Crane M2 works a lot better and it's very stable. So if you are thinking of something on those lines, I would rather say go for a powerful or a more powerful gimbal compared to the beginner's level. If you are thinking of going into an advanced mode in future, I would say go now, because they both price almost the same and this one has a lot more features to explore. So I will leave the choice to you to choose, and I would like to know what you prefer in between the two. And if you want to know more about the new Zhiyun Smooth 5 or the Zhiyun Crane M3, which is the upgraded version of this, do add comments in the video. And if you have stayed on this video so far, please give me a like, a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to put more videos on my channel, and I would really appreciate your feedback, your comments on how did you like this effort. So hope to see you again in some other video. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Now why you don't need a separate extension phone pole? Because it has a built-in extension phone.